Hello and welcome back to my channel, The Crafty Sparrow. My name is Amanda. If you are new here, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. This is my space on YouTube where I just talk to you guys about what I've been crafting for the month, and I might have a kind of a shorter video this week because I have been working on like 2 projects this entire month. Come here. Ashley is joining me right now. Okay. Yeah, so I may have a shorter video because I've really just been working on 2 projects, and you're seeing right here my only finished object for the month of November. And but it still should be a nice cozy episode because the projects I have been working on are scrumptious and I've been having a lot of fun with them. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm putting this at. Just shove this over here, I guess. Excuse me, Ashley. There we go. All right, so as I said, this is my finished object. And if you watched last episode, you will recognize this yarn and maybe recognize the project that I mentioned it might be transformed into. So this yarn, I almost finished the entire twisted loop sweater, I believe is what it's called, from Other Loops. Make sure I'm telling the right. Twist loop sweater by Other Loops, yeah. I almost finished it. I had like a couple inches left on a sleeve and I decided I didn't like it. It was a whole thing. I talked about it last episode, and I decided that instead I was going to rip it out and make the Seaway Pullover, which is what you see on me right now. This pattern is by Ozetta, and it's a beautiful drop shoulder cable sweater. The cables are very subtle, but they do exist. They have just like some, I think they're three stitch crossovers just spread out throughout the entire sweater. There's no like ribbing to separate cables, which is usually what you would see. And yeah, it's just very subtle. It's very oversized and cozy, and I'm so glad that I decided to make this instead of going through with the other sweater because I love this thing. I should have poured some more water before I started recording. Yeah, so these are the yarns that I used for this. A very special yarn from Kelsey of Knitting Niqabi. It is a 70% non-superwash merino, 20% alpaca, and 10% mulberry silk fingering weight yarn, and the color is corduroy. I picked this up when she was having her huge sale, trying to clear out all of her old colorways and bases in her shop, and I actually still have like 2.5 skeins left over. So I only used 2.5 to make this whole sweater, and I'm just like amazed that it went that far. I did hold it with another yarn, which is Knitpicks Alpaca Cloud, so I held these 2 colors together. When I ordered this Alpaca Cloud, I definitely thought it was closer in match to the corduroy, so I wasn't planning on having the marled look that you see in this sweater, but I love it regardless. I just bought this to kind of beef up this yarn because it was a little bit thin with the gauge for the other sweater, and it ended up being the right gauge for this one as well, so it worked out fine. But yeah, instead of holding it with a mohair, which I try to avoid for various reasons, mostly because I live in South Carolina and mohair is just not that practical for me. Also, I prefer alpaca, and Surrey alpaca is very pricey, so I just found a lace weight baby alpaca blend. It ended up working out really good. It doesn't really have like a halo effect that Surrey alpaca or mohair would, but it does give it more body, and the marled effect is really pretty. So yeah, those are the 2 yarns that I used for this, and I used a 4mm needle for the body and a 3.5mm for the ribbing. I made the size 3 or large/extra large, and I think that it fits really, really well. I will say when I finished the sweater, I was a little disappointed in the oversizedness, but then I blocked it and it made all the difference. So if you're ever like worried that you picked the wrong size towards the end of a sweater, don't judge it until after you block it, because blocking is magical. I would stand up and show you what this looks like, but Ashley is currently curled on my lap right now and it is so cute. I would show you again, but I would have to, I don't think I can. Yeah. Sorry if that made things a little bit wobbly, but I had to show you she was being adorable. And also, if you hear, I'm recording on my phone again. Oh, she got up. Okay, good. I'm recording on my phone again, and there's people cutting tree limbs outside my window, so if you hear like background noise, I apologize. But I really wanted to record today, so now I can stand up. So this is, you can see with the window behind me how much ease it has. I'm kind of shoved in the corner here, so I can't really show you full body, but I did do a split hem, which is not in pattern, but if you've been around for a while, you know I love split hems, so. I think that honestly, the only modifications I made, you want back up here? Come here. Come here. The only modifications that I made were the length, I think. Yeah, because I actually did it to the pattern's body length, and then I started the ribbing and stuff, and I decided I didn't like the length of it, so I actually ripped it back and added, let's see, did I write down? I actually didn't write down how much I added. I think it was 1 full repeat of the cabling. Maybe. I think that sounds right. I think it was another like 4 inches or so added to the body, and that turned out good. And I think I actually did less length on the ribbing in the cuffs as well than the pattern recommends, just because I actually wrote down, I did 5.5 cable repeats for my sleeves, and the only shaping is right when you start in the underarm here, so there's no like decreasing for the sleeve. So I just did 5.5 cable repeats in 13 rows of ribbing, and then I did tubular bind off. Yeah, I think that's the only modifications I made. Pretty sure the collar is the right to pattern, I think, and yeah. It was nice. It was fun to make. The yarn is wonderful. I wore it to my Thanksgiving celebrations with my family. I try to wear my newest sweater creation every year to my Thanksgiving. It's kind of like a silent tradition that I've done with myself since I've started knitting sweaters. So this was my Thanksgiving sweater this year. And I'll post a picture of, I think I saved a picture of me wearing it with my outfit. I wore like a black skirt with it and black tights. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw it. I actually don't remember if I saved that photo, like the full body photo, but if I did, I'll pop a photo right here so you can see what it looks like with that outfit. I think that's all that I have to say about this sweater. I highly recommend the pattern. It's Ozetta patterns. Her stuff's always great, so you should go check that out if you're interested in any of her patterns. And yeah, that's it for my finished objects this time around. I have 2 works in progress. One of them is a blanket and one of them is a sweater for my husband. So these are both big projects, and I am really, really liking them because they're both with the same yarn. It's with Knitpicks palette, and if you know me, you know that I love Knitpicks palette. This is my favorite cardigans that I made, a full color work one, all Knitpicks palettes, and I love wearing this thing. It's just a great woolly rustic yarn. So what did I write down first? Okay, I'll talk about the sweater, my husband's sweater first. It's the Foliage sweater by Johanna. And as I said, it's with Knitpicks palette. And he picked out, he wanted, so the sweater has, it's a colorwork yoke sweater. And it has like leaf motifs on the yoke. And he wanted the leaf to be green and the body to be gray. So I went on Knitpicks website with him and he picked out these two colors. The main color is this gray color called Ash. And the contrast color is this lovely green color called Larch Heather. It's probably focusing on my face and not these guys, but yeah. So even on the website, I thought that maybe this would be a little bit too low contrast, but these were the colors that he liked, so we went with them. And they are a little bit low contrast for my taste, but he still seems to like it, so it's his sweater. It's fine. I will show you what I have. I'm still working on the colorwork part, and the cable might be a little bit too small for me to show you the whole thing spread out, but it has a corrugated ribbing neckline, and let's see if I can show you the leaf. Oh, the sun's coming through. There we go. So there is some of the leaf motif on there. I think there's a couple rows of leaves. I'm probably about halfway done with it. I've started on the second row of leaves there. So I think it's contrast enough to where you can see the leaves. It's just if it's dark outside, you probably won't be able to. So yeah, that's one of the ones that I've been working on. And I am using a 3.5 millimeter for the color work. And I'm going to go down to a 3.25 for the rest of the body, so anywhere where there's not color work, and that is just to compensate for the change in gauge. Usually if you're doing color work, you tend to knit a little bit tighter, so by going up a needle size, you can have a more continuous gauge there. And I think for the ribbing, I'm just using the 3.25 as well. Yes, I put stockinette and ribbing. Yep, 3.25. And the size that I'm making for my husband is the M2 size, which I guess means medium 2. Yeah, it's fun so far. You guys know I love color work, especially with Knitpicks palette. I have actually been doing a combination of continental and English style knitting for this color work, which I didn't plan on doing. I started out just doing continental, which is usually how I do color work, and I found that my stitches were becoming a little bit loose once I was using another color, if that makes sense. Like, I knit 3 stitches in the gray and then I knit 3 stitches in the green, and I found that the gray stitches were a little bit loose, so I tried using my main color in my right hand, which would be English style, while holding my contrast color in my left hand, which is continental. And it ended up working out where I could keep those stitches a little bit tighter while I'm working with the contrast color. So I just stuck to that. I have done that before. I was kind of forced to do it when I made my... There were socks that I made from the Petite Knitters, or the Petite Knitter, yeah, not the Petite Knits. There were sheep socks. I can't remember what they're called. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, you had to do 3 strands of color at one time, and so I was kind of forced to learn how to do a combination. And so yeah, I've done it before, but for some reason for this one, I'm sticking to it instead of just switching back to continental only. And I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. So I think that's all I have to say about the Foliage sweater. I'm probably gonna have it done for next show and tell episode because the only other thing that I'm working on is my Starflower blanket, which I will show you my progress on. Before I show you some of these tiles, I wanted to laugh with you guys at the journey that this box of Knitpicks palette sampler has gone through when it comes to pattern picking and what I'm going to make with this. So originally I was like, yeah, I'm going to make a colorwork sweater, and I picked out something. I can't remember what it was. I picked that out and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to make that. And then I kept looking at other sweaters like, oh, I'm stuck between the Merriment sweater and I can't remember what the other one was called, but it was a different one. And I actually put a poll through Instagram, and the Merriment sweater won, so I was like, I'm gonna make it with that. Then I changed my mind because I saw a different sweater that I still really want to make eventually, but I even bought the Merriment sweater and this one I was gonna make, thinking that I was gonna make it with these Knitpicks palette sampler box, and I was just thinking about having to pick which colors to use for each part of the color work, and maybe not having enough of a certain color to complete a color work motif with it. It was really stressing me out. So I just decided to look up blanket patterns instead that are good for like smaller quantities of yarn. And so yeah, your girl's not making a sweater with this stuff anymore. I've gone through like 3 different patterns thinking I'm definitely gonna make it with these sampler box, but no, I'm just gonna make a blanket because it's easier on my brain. But I'm really happy that I chose that because this Starflower blanket, which the pattern is by Tin Can Knits actually, and I'm surprised I haven't seen this blanket before because Tin Can Knits is a pretty popular pattern designer and it's so pretty. But basically what it is a bunch of hexagons with this really pretty leaf motif or star motif on it, and you just seam it all together. Here's, oh, hold on. Here's one of them that I made. The sun's coming through, it makes it hard to see. There you go. It's so pretty. It's actually really pretty with the sun coming through like that. Oh, shiny. So yeah, this Knitpicks sampler is their mountains or desert and mountains one. They have 3 different sampler boxes, and this is the one with the oranges and reds and yellows and neutral colors, and it's so scrumptious. I love it. And I've made so many tiles already. These are so addicting to make because it's just, I don't know, it's just so, it's quick to make. I think each tile, I haven't timed myself yet. I've just recently learned the repeats of the pattern without having to look at the chart. But if I had to guess, it probably would be able to do a tile in an hour and a half, 2 hours. I say that and that's a lot of time for a little tile like this, but it's still really fun, kind of an instant gratification thing. And something that, hold on, well, I gotta put this down. Those are my blocked ones, by the way. And I love blocking because it turned this into this, and that's just magical. If this doesn't make you want to block something, then I don't know what will. It's amazing. Anyway, what's been really fun for me, and one of the reasons why it's become really addicting, is I take, sorry Ashley, since there's 50 different colors in the box, I take a D100 from my D&D dice, and I assigned each color in alphabetical order. Each color gets 2 values, so I think ash or something like that is the first color, so ash would be color 1, or number 1 and number 2. And I would just give each color a value like that until I got up to 100. And then I just roll my dice and that decides which color I'm making next. And it's so fun to just see what color it makes me do next. I don't know. It's just, I love my D&D dice, and having another reason to use them, especially in a moment of a lack of D&D during these holiday seasons. It brings me a lot of joy. So, and I love these dice. These are from You Are Wizards on Etsy. And you might not be able to see, but they are made out of blue goldstone. So they are deep, deep blue color with like sparkly speckles that are like goldy. I don't know. They're just really pretty. Going off on a tangent here, but I call these my Lunar Fist die because the guild hall that my D&D character is a part of, this is what the building on the inside is made out of, is blue goldstone. So it's my Lunar Fist. That's her guild name, is Lunar Fist. Anyway, nobody asked to know that, but now you know deep lore of my dice. So that is my Starflower blanket. I think I have I've made 17 tiles so far, and I can make, so this is a 20-gram ball. This is one that I haven't used yet. And after making one star tile, it uses like a little less than half. I think it usually leaves about 12 grams left over. And so I'm gonna make 2 tiles out of each ball of yarn. So that gives me 100 tiles. I think that, I watched 6,000 steps somehow while I was talking to you guys while I was sitting on a chair. So the pattern for the biggest size blanket, I think only uses like 90, I think it's like 83. It's 8 by 11, so it's 88 full tiles, and then it's 10 half tiles to make the sides flat. And I think I'm gonna do that. So that leaves me with plenty. I should have enough to do the biggest size blanket. Yes. I should have more than enough. And I think what I'm gonna actually do is assemble it with this random order as well. I laid them all out last night, and I actually posted on my Instagram. I'll put the photo right here. So that's what they look like now. And yeah, I think I like the way they look. The dice are really good at making the colors that I pick very random. There's no biases on, I've done a lot of orange this time, let's do a different color. It's completely random, and I like the randomness. So I really want to start seaming them together. So the pattern tells you to leave like a really, really long tail. I have them like balled up so they're not all over the place and get tangled. So I have the ends to crochet seam all these together, and it's just a regular cast off edge, so it should be really easy to evenly crochet all these together. I'm actually really excited about that process because it is crochet and not seaming with a darning needle. I was not looking forward to that, but then I realized it was suggesting a crochet seaming. I guess just doing a single crochet to put them together. I don't know, but I think I'm going to start actually assembling it as well, and instead of just waiting till all the tiles are made, just to make it a little less overwhelming at the end. And also, I haven't crocheted anything in a hot minute, so it gives me an excuse to crochet something. Yeah. Oh, and I'm using a 3.25. This is my next color. I'm gonna make one. Greasely Heather. I'm using a 3.25 millimeter Chaigu metal needles to make these. And what was I gonna say about it? Oh, just magic loop. You can use a DPN for them. but they called for one of those Judy's I don't know what it's called, the knitting cast on that has like a closed hole, use them for like making beanies top down. And but what I do instead is I do a crochet magic loop for the center thing. I do just like a crochet magic loop cast on, and then I just put those stitches on my needle. And that works out great for me. Is that even what that is? It's just called something different. I don't know. It's called Judy's cast on or something like that. But yeah, I just do a magic loop with my crochet hook and then just put the stitches on my knitting needles. It works out great. You cinch the cast on hole shut. Yeah. And here they all are. Such beautiful colors. I love them. This one right here is really, really pretty. It's called Golden Heather. And something that I really, really like about this project is I can actually physically see what all of these colorways look like. And if I ever want to buy Knitpicks palette yarn for a specific project and it's one of these 50, I can actually physically see what they look like together side by side. And actually what I really want to do, and maybe this is a huge goal that I need to not make for myself, I want to make a blanket, a Starflower blanket for each of the sampler boxes. So they have this one, which is the oranges, all the warm tones basically, like the orange, reds, and yellows, and then the neutrals. Then they have one that's called Forest and Water, I think, and that is blues and greens and some other select neutrals maybe. And then they have one that I can't remember the name of, but it's pinks and purples and such. So I want to make one of each and then have the blankets, like I'll have this out for fall time and winter, and then for spring in the beginning of summer I'll have the pink and the purple one out, and then for summer and beginning of fall I'll have the blues and greens out. Maybe I'm crazy, but I would love to have every single colorway of Knitpicks palettes somewhere in my house. It smells so good and woolly. I actually blocked these all with wool wash so that when I seam the blanket together, I don't think I'm gonna block it all as one blanket because every tile would be seamed already. So they just smell like my wool wash and smell like squishy wool, and I love it. So these have been taking up a lot of my time, this and the sweater. And also, so that's it for the Starflower blanket, by the way. I've also been doing a new craft, and it's a popular one. My mother-in-law is huge in doing these, so I figured might as well do some. It's a diamond art thing. I was hesitant to start it because I feel like it's one of those things where you get into it and you just want to do more, and I don't like all the plastic that's involved, but it is really pretty. So the only reason I bought it was because my husband and I were in Michael's the other day. We just wanted to go look at Christmas stuff in stores. So we went to Michael's and they had a bunch of these that were like Christmassy winter themed. And Tyler picked out which one he liked the best. And it's this cute little winter house with these beautiful like snowy pine trees. Oh, my cat is chasing my watch reflecting the light. Yeah, so I have been doing this too. It's super fun, I have to say. I've just been on my days off. I make my cup of coffee in the morning and play something on YouTube and just do a couple of like chunks off of it. And it's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. They had some other really cute ones. Like there was a red truck with a Christmas tree in the back, which was really cute. The one that caught my eye was a bright red cardinal in some snowy tree branches, which was really pretty. But I feel like I rationalized it buying this because it's Christmas winter themed. I will just have it up during the winter season, and maybe I'll find a springy or summery one that I can put up. I don't know. I'm already thinking about buying more, but I don't need any more. I have enough hobbies. Something that we all tell ourselves, right? Yeah. I think that's all the stuff I've been working on. As far as acquisitions go, yarn, I guess, is technically acquisition for my husband's Foliage sweater. Yeah, so that's it for acquisitions. And future plans, my husband bought me some Birkenstocks, so I really want to make some socks. And hold on. I actually really need to cast these on like today. So last year I did River Kelly's From a Knitter's Homestead Christmas Advent calendar, and this was the Christmas Day yarn. It's so pretty. I need to make my Christmas socks. Why have I not cast this on yet? So yeah, it's like blues and greens and purples, and it's so pretty. So Lucy, why are you so mean to her? My younger cat is a bully to my older cat. To be fair, Ashley's a little bit dramatic, so that sounded a lot worse than it actually was. See, she's fine. Yeah, so I want to cast on some socks, and I really want to make some hats as well, some more muscle wear hats. I need to make a hat for my mom. If you're watching this, Mom, you probably have forgotten, and I want it to be a surprise, so skip ahead a couple of minutes. I made her a cardigan this past year, and I want to make her a hat that matches it with the yarn that I use because I have a skein left over. That sun's coming in bright. To wrap this up, I guess. So yeah, hats, and then I also have more than a sweater's quantity of worsted weight patons, however you say it, merino wool in a like a light green that I really want to make a sweater, like a huge cable sweater out of. So do that. And then also I mentioned last episode that I wanted to rip out an old sweater that I had and make the alder sweater by the Crayabea podcast. Rebecca Clow, that's her name. So yeah, those are just some rough plans, and we'll see where I am next month. I will try to do a December episode. I'll try. I know last year I posted one before Christmas because I had all those crochet toys that I knit for my nephews and my niece. I don't think I'm doing that this year, so I'll probably try and post one after Christmas, like right before New Year's. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, I think that's all that I have to talk about here today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Lucy just took off. Okay, she's going crazy mode right now. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope it was wonderful and warm and full of wonderful memories. And if I don't see you before Christmas and you celebrate Christmas, I hope that is also wonderful and full of great memories. Yeah, I hope that you are enjoying what you're crafting, and